In this video, we are going to simplify an expression with exponents. As you can see, between each term inside the parenthesis, we have no addition or subtraction. So that means we can distribute the exponent outside the parenthesis throughout each term inside the parenthesis. Now, if you remember from the order of operations for exponents, anytime you raise a power to a power, you multiply the exponents. So x to the negative 3 raised to the 3 would become x to the negative 9, and the y raised to the 5 raised to the 3 would become y to the 15. Now in the denominator, the 2 there, we don't have an exponent on it, but what we really have, and I'll put it there, you don't have to do this, but just to help, is means 2 to the first. That's what 2 is, 2 to the first. So I'm going to do the same thing in the denominator as I did to the numerator, including with the 2. So 2 raised to the first raised to the negative 2 would become 2 to the negative 2. And then the x would be x to the negative 4. And the y would be y to the negative 8. So to simplify this further, we need to get rid of all the negative exponents. And as you can see, we have plenty here. So we're going to do this in pieces. The first thing I'm going to simplify are with the x's. So the x in the numerator has a negative 9, and the x in the denominator has a negative 4. So we call that bottom heavy. The reason for that is we're looking at the value of the exponent, and negative 4 is greater than negative 9, so think of it like gravity, which way it would be pulled, and it'll be pulled in the heavier direction. And since this is heavier on bottom, my answer will be written in the denominator or on the bottom. Now, what do we write in the exponent? Well, what we do is we determine how much heavier or greater it is than the numerator's exponent. Negative 4 is 5 more than negative 9, so that's how I'll write it. Bottom heavy because negative 4 is greater than negative 9. That means we write it on the bottom. How much more is it than negative 9? Negative 4 is 5 more than negative 9, and that's why my exponent is 5. For the y's, this is clearly top heavy. 15 is larger than negative 8. How much larger? 23, or greater is probably a better word. Now for the 2 to the negative 2 in the denominator, we're going to do something here. So we're going to treat it just like we did the x's and y's. Now we don't have a 2 in the numerator, so how are we going to treat it the same? What you can do is you can introduce a 2 and raise it to the 0 power, because if you remember, for exponents of 0, 2 to the 0 is the same as 1. So I haven't really introduced anything on the top, because 1 times anything is still, it's still y to the 23, because y to the 23 times 1 is still y to the 23. But it allows us to look at the 2's the same way we do the x and the y. And this just kind of helps. Otherwise, you have to change the 2 to the negative 2 to 1 over 2 to the 2 in the denominator, so that makes a fraction within a fraction, and I know that can get complicated. So writing it like this allows us to treat the 2 just like we did the x and the y. So 2 to the 0 and 2 to the negative 2, that's top heavy because 0 is greater than negative 2. It's 2 more, so I write it on the top because it's top heavy. And since it's 2 more, my exponent is 2. And then finally, the last bit is just to go in and simplify the 2 to the 2. That becomes 4. So my final answer is 4 raised to the, 4 times y to the 23 over x to the 5.